Last week, I showed you how to make my signature Kansas City barbecue. This week, I'm going to show you how to make the best ribs you ever had from the oven. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get to butchering our pork ribs here. These are spare ribs, extra meaty spare ribs. I usually cook both kinds of ribs, but my favorite are these spare ribs because of how much meat's on them. And they're just a really good bite. So the first thing that you will do, as you probably already know, is to take off the membrane that's at the back of these ribs. So we're going to do that real quick before we do anything else. And the reason why it's so important to get that membrane off the back is that silver skin is a connective tissue that just won't break down, and it kind of holds all these together. Have you ever went to a cookout and had these really amazing ribs, but you just couldn't eat them because of how tough they were? No fork, no knife could cut through it. Or if you were able to manage to get off a piece of meat and feel like you had all this stringy stuff in your teeth, that's the silver skin. You can't have really delicious, tender ribs and have that membrane still attached. It doesn't work like that. So we're going to flip this over, wash up real quick, and get to seasoning. And you probably already know what I'm going to go for. It's already out here. Anytime I ever do barbecue, doesn't matter what I'm doing, I grab this, my hickory smoke, and I want to rub it down. And then, of course, I've got my Weber KC rub right next to me. As you guys already know, especially if you watched my last video, if you haven't checked out how to make my locally famous barbecue sauce, I highly recommend you checking it out. So that way you can make barbecue that tastes amazing like this one. Alright? We're going to do even the backside because you want full flavor on each side. Alright. And now, that's done its job. We're going to take our KC rub and we're going to go over the back too. What that liquid smoke does is it acts as a binder. And it's going to keep all this good flavor in. Alright, now that we've got everything seasoned up and looking good and prepped up, we're going to wash up, put this on a baking pan, and put it in the oven. Alright, so I'm guessing you guys are wondering why the oven method. I mean, ideally in a pit, over a grill is the ideal way to make ribs or any barbecue for that matter. But say you don't have a grill, or your grill's out of commission, or it's too hot outside, whatever your reasoning is for not wanting to go to the grill or just not having a grill, the oven works incredibly well. And the best ribs I have ever made actually came out of the oven. I know it feels a little wrong saying that, and it probably sounds a little wrong hearing it. But what we did was we put that whole rack of ribs in the oven on 275. We're going to let it cook for 2.5 hours. Low and slow is always the way to go with barbecue. And at the 2-hour mark, we're going to apply that incredible Kansas City style barbecue sauce to our ribs, pin it on real nice, and get that sauce crisped up. These are going to be incredible. You're never going to probably even go back out to the grill to make your own ribs once you realize how good these are. And now it's time to talk about our side while the ribs are cooking. We're making fried pickles. And guys, I'm not talking about taking pickles out the jar and getting them ready to be fried. No, we are making our own pickles. Put your jars away. I want to show you guys how to make fresh pickles, and we're going to be making the best fried pickle you've ever had. So what I've got here are some small pickling cucumbers, and what we're going to do is we're going to cut them into little spears. So cut them in half, and then cut them in half again, and do that for all your little pickle guys. And yes, I've rinsed and washed, my produce here, so it's fresh. These are actually really great cucumbers. I just tried one a minute ago, and it is really nice. We're going for fried pickle spears instead of chips. There's nothing wrong with doing chips, but the best fried pickles I've ever had were the spears. And we're going to make them so incredibly crispy and crunchy, you're not going to want to go back to the restaurant to get your fried pickles, especially when you realize just how easy they are to make. Alright, and now that we've got our pickle spears ready, it's time to create the pickle liquid. Alright, so what I have in my saucepan here is 3/4 of a cup of water. And then we're going to add 1.5 cups of white distilled vinegar. And to that, we're going to add in a tablespoon each kosher salt and regular granulated sugar. We're going to whisk that up and bring it to a boil. Alright guys, and as soon as your pickling liquid comes to a boil, we're going to completely submerge our pickles in the pickling liquid. And it looks like I'm going to have to make some more for this next pot. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add in some fresh dill and a pinch of garlic powder. And then we're just going to press down with a little paper towel to create a seal to make sure everything stays submerged in our pickling liquid. And repeat this for your other jar, because we're going to be using all these pickles. And we're going to let these sit here in the pickling liquid for about an hour. Then we're going to start making our fried pickles. Alright, it's been a little over an hour. And all your cucumbers should be proper pickles now. Don't they look amazing? I just tried one. And they're absolutely phenomenal. Better than the jar. The only thing that would have made them even better than they are right now is if I actually had real minced garlic. Minced garlic makes all the difference. But the garlic powder did well in a pinch, so it did work. You still have all the flavor. So what I'm doing now is, since I've drained all of my pickle juice out, I'm drying off these cucumbers, these pickles, because in order to get a crispy fried pickle, they have to be as dry as humanly possible. So now that these guys are done, I am aggressively patting them down, making sure they have no excess pickle juice on them before we start breading. Alright. Okay. These are looking pretty good. Yeah, these should be okay. It's a dry pickle. Alright, and at this point, I've already started preheating my oil to 375 degrees. You want it really hot, so that way we get the crispiest, best fried pickle you've ever had. So what I've got here is 1 cup of all-purpose flour and 1/4 cup of cornstarch. You've seen me do this before in several videos in the past. This creates an incredibly crunchy, crispy crust that's going to bread these pickles. Alright, so what I have here is the seasoning for your fried pickles. We're going a little light on the seasoning because we want to taste the true beauty of these fresh pickles in every bite. So all this is 1 teaspoon kosher salt, 1 teaspoon ground black pepper, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika, and 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. And we're just going to add that in. Get it all mixed around in there. So you can have a nice fragrant crust. All right, that smells good. All right, and this is your wet mix right here. All this is 1 egg and 1 cup of buttermilk beaten together. So we're just going to take our pickle, get it nice and tossed into this breading, give it a dip, bring it back into the breading, press down, make sure it's got a nice aggressive coating on it, like this. Set it to the side. Repeat this for all your pickles. Well, it turns out I had too many pickles for the batter. We've got plenty to work with for right now. They look great and smell great, so let's get cleaned up and take it to the fryer. Okay, and we're here at the fryer. So what we're going to do is we're just going to drop a few of these in at a time. I want to go with about 5 of them. Actually, you know what? I want to do 4. Just to prevent overcrowding. We want to cook them for about 2 to 3 minutes and then check for doneness. Alright, so it's been 3 minutes, so let's take a look at our pickle fries. Our fried pickles. Light, crispy, golden. Yeah, that looks really crispy. Alright, so what we're going to do is cook these in batches of 4 for 3 minutes. So here's the next step. Our ribs finally have 30 minutes left on the timer. Do you see how all that seasoning has created a crust? And how all these juices are starting to escape the ribs? So what we're going to do is we're going to take this incredible Kansas City barbecue, the very same batch that we made in our last video. And guys, again, I cannot stress enough how important it is to learn how to make that barbecue sauce. It is incredible, and it's going to level up your barbecue game, especially if you're anything like me and you do barbecue year-round. Barbecue is a passion of mine. So we're just going to paint a nice little Picasso coating of this beautiful Kansas City. Now, I just took a taste of it, and it is absolutely phenomenal. You're really not noticing the lack of actual fresh garlic in there. It's just got so much flavor. It's really exploding in your mouth. So, guys, even with a small substitution like that, you're getting great flavor. So now that we've gotten a nice thick coating of our Kansas City on there, we're going to put it back in the oven. And we're going to pull it out again in 10 minutes to do the same thing. And you're going to repeat this process every 10 minutes until the ribs are done cooking. It's about that time. Never said I was really the best at cutting ribs, but I sure can cook them. This is an absolutely sinful plate of food, so let's go ahead and try it out. Alright, so if there's one thing I wish I could have done differently, it would be to time this a little bit better. These have gotten kind of cold, but we're going to try them out anyway. Yo, this is it. This is hands down the freshest fried pickle I've ever had in my life. Even at room temp, they still taste good. They have good crunch. Oh my god. They're fantastic. Got a little heat to them. Almost sort of like a Cajun fried pickle, if you would. Kind of warms your mouth up without being too hot. And I know this is going to be good. I wish I could describe to you the absolute joy I feel eating this. It's a 20 out of 10. You can't lose. You don't have to go outside to fiddle with your grill unless you want to. Your family's going to love this. You cannot beat the freshness of doing anything yourself from scratch at home. This is a 20 out of 10. This don't even belong on the 10 scale. You guys need to get out there and try this. This is amazing. Be your own barbecue joint. Come on now. If I can do it, you can. See you guys next week.